What do you think about self-motivation at this school?
I think for the most part it's lacking in a lot of our students.
Do you think it has a lot to do with the new schedule this year?
I don't really know that the schedule has a whole lot to do with it. I think the culture of a lot of our young people today is that you don't really have to work as hard to achieve as we once did in the past.
You want me to say self-motivation is exactly what it is.
I know what it is. I want to know, what do you think about it in our students at this school? You think our students are self-motivated?
No.
This particular year, you think has it went down?
I think it has went down tremendously.
Do you think it has something to do with the new schedule?
I think the new schedule could be positive for the students, but I think they're not maximizing the schedule with their efforts.
I love it, oh my God.
They can record, right? What's up?
What's up, nigga?
What she did?
What do you think about self-motivation at this school and the students?
Ain't nobody got none because everybody slacks, you know. I see a lot of slacking in class.
Do you think it has a lot to do with the new schedule change?
A little bit. Mostly, these people are lazy. They don't want to do that. I mean, there's no excuse for not doing anything.
What do you think about self-motivation in this school?
I mean, a lot of students don't have much self-motivation at this school because
A student with no self-motivation. Brian, what's your last name?
Okay, yeah.
Would you like to tell the world how you don't have...
Self-motivation, I think some of our students are lacking self-motivation.
Do you think it has increased or decreased since the new schedule change?
I think it has increased.
And you think
More students are
lacking?
lacking, correct.
You think it has a lot to do with the schedule change?
I don't know that it necessarily has a lot to do with the schedule change itself, but I do think that there's less structure, and so students who are already lacking self-motivation are going to be less motivated.
What about the teachers? You think they play a role in student self-motivation?
Not necessarily self-motivation, no. I don't think so.
Not self-motivation? What do you think about self-motivation at this school?
I think the self-motivation at this school is lacking for a lot of our students, and it's pretty poor.
Can you use another word besides lacking? A lot of people use that word.
You want me to say it sucks? I think self-motivation in this school is pretty poor for most of our students.
You think it has a lot to do with the new schedule change?
I mean, I think the schedule change has some impact on it, but I think it was poor even on block scheduling. I don't think it has that much impact. I think it's difficult for a lot of our students, but I don't think it has that much of an impact on the motivation.
What about the teachers? You think the teachers have a lot of impact on student self-motivation?
I think teachers like to think that they have some impact on trying to motivate students to do the right thing, but I don't necessarily think that we have as much power as we think we do.
Think about it? Well, I think we have a wide variety of students at our school, in that some are really self-motivated and others need support in that area to be self-motivated and learn how to become self-motivated.
Do you think majority or...
That's a tough question. I can only answer from my perspective, and the majority of students that I work with are still acquiring that skill.
Okay. Do you think it has a lot to do with the new schedule change? Do you think that affects kids in their self-motivation?
I wouldn't say a lot to do with the new schedule change. I would say certainly I think that's a component, because not only was it difficult for kids, I think we as adults in the building, it took us some time to adjust to the schedule change too, so I'm sure that has affected some. I couldn't say if it was a lot or the majority.
And do you think that teachers have a lot to do with kids being self-motivated?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's our responsibility as educators to create an environment where kids want to come and learn and feel like that they can take the risks.
Hell no, not at all. They don't like to be, they don't self-motivate. They say they try to live up to the standards of their peers and stuff like that.
Do you think that teachers have a lot to do with kids self-motivating themselves?
Yeah, they try day-to-day basis, but you know, some kids don't want to buy in like these two knuckleheads right here. Them niggas don't self-motivate. So you see, they dance. But yeah, they don't self-motivate themselves. You know what I'm saying?
And what do you think about self-motivation at this school?
Most of the students aren't self-motivated. They have to hear stuff from others to motivate them.
Do you think that it has a lot to do with the new schedule change?
Not really, but most, like right now since the schedule has changed, students have started doubting themselves more.
Do you think teachers have an impact on self-motivation in the students?
Yes, because stuff they say can cause students to not more motivate themselves.
Okay. Do you think it has a lot to do with the new schedule change?
I don't think you can put everything on the schedule change, but I also don't think that the schedule change has been it hasn't been a very good thing. I think it's difficult to keep up with. I don't think there's a lot of consistency. You don't get to go to the same class very often or very many days in a row, and I think that has hindered us. But I don't think we can blame it all on that.
Do you think teachers have a lot to do with the impact on self-motivation in our students?
I do. I think teachers and coaches have a big impact on our students. A lot of times I think some of our students, the only motivation they get is from the teachers that they see at Clark Central.